Jason Smith was infamous in our circle for being a hopeless, wife-doting maniac. For me, he turned down a prestigious arranged marriage and spoiled me relentlessly for 3 years straight. But at his bachelor party before our wedding, his first love asked him, "If I crashed your wedding, would you come with me?" And he actually said, seriously, yes. Fighting back tears, I texted my billionaire heiress best friend, "Can you get me out of here as soon as possible?" 7 minutes later, she showed up, her tires nearly spitting sparks. "I told you, with your looks and personality, you should have married into real money ages ago," she snapped. "My brother's gorgeous. My dad's still a silver fox, take your pick." With the wedding just days away, Jason's childhood buddies threw him a wild bachelor party. Everyone in his close circle knew how obsessed he was with me. If he didn't bring me along, he'd bail before 10 to get home to me, no matter how hyped the party was. So this time, they warmly invited me too. But the moment I walked in, something felt off. Everyone greeted me cheerfully, yet kept shooting Jason's sneaky glances. I didn't get it until everyone had taken their seats, and a short-haired girl strolled in, fashionably late. "Sorry, traffic was hell," she chirped. She was tall and slender, with a crisp, breezy voice. Jason froze the second he saw her. For the first time ever, I saw someone's face literally skip a beat. The girl smiled brightly and held out her hand to me. "You must be the bride-to-be. I'm Jessica. So nice to meet you." The moment I heard her name, everything clicked. Jessica, the girl Jason had been in love with for 5 years. Back then, he wasn't the calm man he is now. He went all out chasing her. Thousands of roses under her window, fireworks along the beach, his entire youth devoted to her. But 3 years ago, she suddenly left the country chasing another guy. That was when I met Jason. It was at a party he walked toward me through the haze of lights. I'd only had half a drink but was already tipsy as hell, practically begging my friends to tell me who he was. When they shoved me toward him, I was so nervous I could barely talk. "I'm Jennifer Delaney. May I ask your name, Mr. Smith?" The room erupted in laughter. Jason, who'd been brooding for months, finally smiled. From that day on, he gave me everything he remembered. Every little thing I liked and disliked. No matter how late I worked, he insisted on picking me up himself. Every holiday, he'd handcraft the perfect gift. He showed me off on his social media and introduced me to every single one of his friends and family. Even his friends would joke, "Someone planted the tree and you're enjoying the shade, Jennifer." Jason chased the hardest girl ever, leveled up his emotional IQ, and now you're cashing in. But those comments never got to me. They always said I was nothing like her in looks or in personality. I was never anyone's second choice, and I truly believed Jason loved me. After 3 years of passion, he proposed again, firm, certain. I thought our love was finally about to bloom. But just then, reality hit me like a freight train. Jessica sat down next to me, all casual, pulling a perfume bottle from her purse. A wedding gift. This scent's super classy. I've used it for years. Her smile crinkled her eyes. I had to admit, she was charming and composed. She even gave the gift to me, not Jason. I thanked her, and she added me on WeChat. "If he ever gives you trouble, come vent to me." Sure, Jason and I grew up together, but I'm not taking his side. I've got your back. Our friends clapped and cheered. "That's our queen Jessica, still the baddest." Jessica paused, then looked past me to Jason on my other side. "Hey, what's with you? Haven't seen you in 3 years and now you're all quiet?" Everyone else kept drinking and gossiping, but their eyes were locked on the three of us like it was live theater. Jason's ears turned visibly red. He couldn't even meet her eyes, just clutched his glass and tried to joke. Not quiet, just not sure what to say. "Feels like you're a stranger now," Jessica laughed. "So I'm the one to blame for not keeping in touch these past 3 years?" She raised her glass. "Guess we'll be talking more now, huh?" Jason glanced at me and said, "My wife's the boss. If you want to chat, gotta go through her first." They smiled, clinked glasses, made peace in front of everyone, no secrets, no whispers. All out in the open. Yet somehow, sitting between them, I felt like I couldn't breathe. Maybe it was because, after 3 years, I could read Jason's body language like a book, and tonight, he was way too tense. The drinks flowed, music played, games were loud. Toward the end, everyone was tipsy. Jason lost a round of truth or dare to Jessica and had to answer a question. Jessica, who had been nothing but graceful all night, suddenly got playful. "Tipsy? Cheeky?" She tilted her head and asked, "If I crashed your wedding, would you come with me?" The already drunk crowd exploded. "Finally! Took you too long enough. That's the drama we came for. Come on, answer, would you go?" Jason's eyes were flushed. He looked at her, emotions churning, and said with painful honesty, "Yes." The whole room went wild. Knew it. Wedding crash. Wedding crash. The chants drew everyone's eyes to our table. I sat frozen between them, struggling to breathe, my hands trembling. I had no idea how to deal with the situation. Making an excuse, I escaped to the bathroom. Holding back tears, I messaged my best friend, Kristen. "Can you come get me right now?" Kristen called immediately. "What happened? Someone messing with you?" "No, not now. Just, can you come?" I was about to cry. Kristen caught on instantly, her voice booming like a general's. "Sit tight. I'm coming. 10 minutes, no, 7. It's not that urgent. Drive safe." "Shut up!" 7 minutes later, Kristen Dawson pulled up in her Bugatti like a bat out of hell, tires nearly on fire. The second I saw her, I broke down. Eyes red, I barely held it together as Kristen grabbed my hand and growled, barely suppressing her rage. "What the hell did you people do to her?" She turned to Jason. "Are you blind or just dead inside? Can't you see how upset she is?" Kristen was a billionaire heiress with a commanding presence. She shut down the whole room the moment she walked in. The moment Kristen spotted Jessica, her gaze turned sharp. Well, look who's here." Jessica stood up and grabbed my hand, smiling sweetly. "We were just playing games, didn't mean to upset anyone." "I'm usually pretty thick-skinned," she added playfully. "But I guess I misjudged how to act around such a delicate flower. My bad." Kristen yanked me behind her. "Who said you could touch her?" she snapped. "You're not clueless, you're just playing dumb." Jason, sobering up, rubbed his temples and stood up. "Jennifer's tired. I should take her home." Kristen scoffed. "I'm already here. You think you're still needed? Keep pretending you're invisible." The others awkwardly stood there watching as Kristen packed my things. She grumbled while stuffing them into my bag. "I've told you 100 times, with your face and your temperament, you should have married into real old money. Instead, you chose to suffer in some nouveau riche mess. That crowd full of backstabbing and fake smiles was never your kind of scene." Jason's family was worth over 9 figures, which technically qualified him as nouveau riche. Not many would dare say it out loud, but from Kristen's mouth, no one dared argue. She zipped up my bag, picked it up, then caught sight of the fancy perfume bottle inside. Without asking, she pulled it out and tossed it onto the floor. "What kind of outdated crap is this? And she actually had the nerve to gift it?" The bottle rolled across the floor and stopped by Jessica's feet. Jessica's expression instantly soured. Kristen grabbed my hand and stormed off. Jason chased us to the door, grabbing my arm. "Jennifer, don't be mad." The mood got weird, and she just blurted out the question. I went totally blank. I stared into Jason's deep, emotional eyes and felt my strength drain away. "You mean to say that was your instinct? That deep down, you still want to be with her?" "Of course not, Jennifer. It was just a game. If I'd said no, she'd have lost face in front of everyone." "So to save her face, you stomped on my dignity?" "I just gave her a polite answer. But with you, I'm giving marriage. I shook him off and laughed in disbelief. So I should be grateful. Jason, after 3 years together, I can't believe I never realized you're the ultimate people pleaser. Just then, Kristen pulled up and started laying on the horn like crazy. Jason reached for me again. Let me take you home. We can talk this through. Kristen scowled. If you've got that much free time, why don't you take your precious BYD and drive for Uber a few rounds? Maybe you'll wake up a bit. Jason choked on his words. For the first time ever. His luxury Bentley with the green plate felt like a slap to the face. I opened the car door and got in. Before shutting it, I looked back and said, Our wedding, let's cancel it. We both need time to rethink everything. On the way home, I scrolled through my feed and saw 2 new posts from Jessica. The first one read, She really is nothing like me. Doesn't that make it all the more suspicious? The second said, If you've spent the last 3 years trying to prove I was wrong to walk away, congrats. You did it. That was it. Everything I'd been holding in all night snapped. I broke down in sobs. 3 years of love wasted. I thought Jason's tenderness came from love, turns out. It was all just a performance for her. I was nothing but a pawn in their high-level emotional tug-of-war. Kristen wasn't the comforting type. She didn't know how to sugarcoat things. She was more of a fixer. Quit crying. Men are everywhere. Just swap him out. My brother's hot. My dad's still got it. Take your pick. I laughed through my tears. Kristen, I'm so pathetic. Still need you to fight my battles. Kristen patted my head. Don't say that. Everyone's built different. My mom died early, so it's just the 3 of us, me, my brother, and my dad. None of us are right in the head. We suck at expressing love. I've always been rebellious, a pain in the ass. Never thought I'd be useful. But you're a natural-born angel. Being around you feels like spring. You're also the gentlest doctor in town when it comes to giving shots. Back when I was in the hospital, if it hadn't been for you spoiling me every day, I wouldn't have made it through. Her words warmed me. The shattered pieces of my pride started to mend. Kristen grinned. Seriously, are you still not considering marrying into my family? She'd said it 100 times. We met when she was hospitalized. The hospital director was supposed to be her doctor, but she insisted on me because I had a gentle voice and gave painless injections. That's how our revolutionary friendship began. Back then, I was already dating Jason. Kristen would slap her thigh in regret every single day. Damn it. Why couldn't I have gotten sick a few months earlier? You were still single then. I could have dragged you home and made you my sister-in-law. The innocent bystander here? Luke Dawson, Kristen's older brother, who flew back from abroad just to visit her in the hospital. His face went completely black every time she said that. Under her relentless teasing, Luke and I started off at sub-zero. Every time we ran into each other, I'd awkwardly look down, and he'd stiffly look away, pretending we didn't see each other. Recently, Luke returned from his studies and joined our hospital. His office was right next to mine. The arrival of this aloof, genius-level heartthrob sent the whole hospital into chaos. Girls would invent reasons just to walk past his door. Even sick days mysteriously declined. As for me, I'd hold my pee just to avoid bumping into him in the hallway. When Kristen noticed my silence, she got excited. You're not saying anything, are you actually thinking about it? So? My brother or my dad? I twitched a smile. If those are my only 2 options, I'd rather take your dad, Kristen squealed. Yes, that's what I was thinking too. My dad's older, he won't live long. You'll inherit everything early, and then we'll spend every day hiring male models. My brother won't work, he's too healthy, sleeps on time, eats organic. You wouldn't survive him. The next afternoon, Kristen came to the hospital right on time to pick me up. As we passed Luke's office, she pulled me in. Bro, you working late today? Luke looked up from his computer. He was 6'2", with sharp brows, a high nose bridge, and eyes that were cold but captivating, the kind of face that made you want to curse the gods for being unfair. He glanced at me, his expression flat. Nope, Just as he said it, Dr. Tony across the desk looked up in shock. Wait, Dr. Luke, didn't you? Luke shot him a look sharp enough to slice. Tony froze, then swallowed his words. Kristen pounced. So, are you going out to eat? Luke paused, as if weighing it seriously, then said, Sure. He stood up and started gathering his files. Kristen lit up. Perfect. Since you're going out, I'll take Jennifer home for dinner. You being around would just make her feel awkward. Luke froze mid-motion. He slowly looked up at Kristen, his eyes suddenly sharp and threatening. Then why don't you just take her out to eat? It's not like the food at home is anything special. Luke's expression turned sour. Their housekeeper, Aunt Emily, originally a gardener, had taken over the kitchen because she got too old to dig up flower beds. Her cooking? Well, let's just say it was very healthy. Kristen tiptoed up to whisper in his ear, I'm bringing her home to introduce her to Dad. Hey, you're getting a new stepmom. Excited? Surprised? Luke straightened up slowly and stared at her like she was already dead. A few seconds later, he picked her up and marched toward the CT room. Let's go. Time to check if they accidentally removed your brain during your last hospital stay. Kristen kicked and flailed in the hallway. My brain's perfectly fine. Bro, let me list 3 amazing perks of having a stepmom. First, if Dad gets married, he'll stop hounding us about our own love lives. Second, I'll have her whisper in his ear and get the company transferred to me. That way, you can be Dr. Luke in peace, and I get to be chairwoman win-win. Third, with her beauty and curves, we'll probably have a little brother by next year. Boom, legacy secured. You don't even have to reproduce. You can even get a vasectomy. Ow! Why'd you pinch me? That hurts! As we drove out of the hospital, a familiar car zipped past us. I turned around. Was that Jason? Kristen answered coolly. Nope, you saw wrong. He's probably in bed right now, pouring his heart out to his precious first love. You think he has time for you? I'm usually emotionally stable. I thought I could break up gracefully. But after that, forget grace. I blocked Jason everywhere, out of sight, out of mind. Luke got home just behind us, went straight to his room to change, still wearing that permanent scowl. He didn't come out until Aunt Emily served dinner. Kristen jumped when she saw him. Are you insane? Why are you dressed like that at home? Luke sat primly at the dining table, sharp suit and immaculate hair, looking every bit the frosty CEO. Isn't this how I always dress? He asked, through gritted teeth. Kristen's mouth twitched, but she said nothing. That's when Kristen's father came home. He greeted me warmly and took his seat. Luke glanced at his father's full business suit. Not changing? Don't you usually ditch the suit the second you walk in, complaining it's uncomfortable? Her father looked at me, then at Luke in his formal getup, and said cheerfully, It's not every day you two bring a guest home. Gotta look decent. Luke's mouth twitched again. Dinner began. He held half a bowl of rice, face full of pride. Move that pork knuckle and pig's feet away from me. Too greasy. Aunt Emily did as told. Luke nibbled delicately on his veggies. Kristen's dad looked confused. Aren't you usually all about meat? Don't even touch greens? Luke paused, then looked at his dad, who was calmly slicing into a steak. Don't you always use chopsticks to eat steak? Kristen's father choked a little. I quickly jumped in. Chopsticks are just easier to use. I use them for steak, too, sometimes. The tension eased a little. Luke added, Dad's favorite is fish head with chili. He spits bones all over the table. What the hell is wrong with you today? Kristen's father slammed his chopsticks down and stormed off. You all eat. I'm full from rage. Kristen stared down at her food, too scared to speak or ask. It was Aunt Emily who broke the silence. There's been a car parked outside for a while. Not sure who it's waiting for. Kinda looks like a BYD. Luke shot up immediately. You all eat. I'll go check. Moments later, his voice floated up from downstairs. Aunt Emily, go tell the guy in that green-plated car to leave. No one here ordered a rideshare. He's at the wrong place. Also, give him $500. Tell him to grab some noodles by the road. Not easy waiting out there all night. I leaned over and whispered to Kristen, "Your brother might be nuts, but he's actually kinda sweet." Kristen, worried Jason would come bother me, insisted I stay at her place for a few days. Luke didn't object. He even gave up his own room, saying it got better sunlight, and moved to the guest room next to their dad's. Kristen was amazed. My brother never lets me bring girls home, and he definitely never lets them touch his stuff. I seriously think he has a mild case of misogyny, but now he's actually being nice to you. You know what that means? What? I asked. Luke's footsteps slowed on the stairs. It means that scumbag couple pissed him off so much, they actually triggered an ounce of sympathy in my cold-blooded brother. Kristen huffed. "If you've got nothing useful to say, shut it," Luke growled, then stomped loudly down the stairs. His room was spotless and carried a faint scent of wood. I opened the window for some air, and a gust blew some papers off the bookshelf. I bent down to pick them up one by one. They were all old medical records I'd written for Kristen 3 years ago. At the bottom was one by Luke, his handwriting elegant and firm. Jennifer, Chingda Affiliated Hospital. It looked emotionless, but somehow, every stroke screamed restraint. I felt like I'd just uncovered a massive secret. My hands shook as I carefully put everything back. I returned to the bed like a corpse, telling myself to stop overthinking. But Luke's presence lingered in every corner of the room. The moment I closed my eyes, his face flashed before me. I couldn't sleep. The next morning, we gathered at the table. I had panda eyes. So did Luke. Kristen's dad looked 10 years older. Kristen was shocked. What happened? "None of you slept last night?" I stammered. "I guess I'm not used to a new bed." Luke, me too. New bed. Kristen's dad glared at him weakly. "So you couldn't sleep in a new bed and decided to torment your dad instead? You were acting like a lunatic all night. Every time I got up to pee, you popped out of nowhere, scaring the hell out of me. I didn't get a wink." Luke replied confidently. "What normal person gets up 8 times a night?" Kristen's dad's lip trembled. "I'm old! My bladder's weak! So what? I'm abnormal now?" He slammed his chopsticks down again and stormed off, defeated. That made 2 dinners in a row he left from sheer rage. No wonder the man wasn't gaining any weight. Kristen munched on her dumplings. "Let my brother give you a ride to work later." "I won't go." I hurried to decline. "No need to trouble, Dr. Luke. I'll just call a cab." Luke stood up. "It's on the way. I'll take you for the next few days." He grabbed his phone, the tips of his ears bright red. "Let's add each other on WeChat." I was debating whether to politely refuse when Kristen said, "Seriously, bro? You're adding her just to make her split gas money for the ride?" Then it hit me. Oh, that's what it was about. I quickly pulled out my phone and added him. I transferred 600 yuan. "Is that enough?" Luke didn't reply, just stared quietly at Kristen, like he'd lost all will to live. On the way to work, he drove with the same icy expression. To kill the awkward silence, I pulled out my phone and started scrolling through my moments. And just like that, the sky fell. Last night, the usually cold and aloof doctor, Luke had posted, "Today, an extra bowl and pair of chopsticks at home." Cute emoji. The picture? A huge bowl of rice, clearly mine, along with my right hand holding chopsticks. Even though the image quality was compressed, it was painfully obvious the rice was packed tight. I eat a lot, and since it was my first time at someone else's house, I didn't dare ask for seconds. So I packed that bowl real good to squeeze in more. The second-hand embarrassment nearly killed me. But what really broke me was the comment section. I could see mutual friends' replies. Jessica commented almost instantly, "Who is this? Who?" Jason must have recognized my bracelet, because he left several broken, frantic comments. "She's at your house? What is this supposed to mean?" Tell her I'm outside, waiting for her. You win. Just wait. I slowly turned to Luke. Dr. Luke, why would you post something like that? He looked calm as ever. People always think I'm cold and antisocial. I wanted to show I can be warm and welcoming. I was speechless. Dr. Luke, how do you know Jessica and Jason? Jessica's a friend of a classmate. 3 years ago, I went abroad to study. She happened to be there too. One day, this Jason guy added me on WeChat and started rambling weird stuff. Told me to take good care of her. Suddenly, it clicked they'd said Jessica chased another guy overseas. It hit me all at once. The guy she chased was you? Luke turned sharply to look at me, eyes dead serious. There's nothing between us. We're not even friends. My mind connected the dots fast. So that means for 3 years, Jason's been able to see every single thing you posted? Yes. I thought back to the first time we met, how Luke stared at me for ages, until Kristen let out a pig squeal and snapped him out of it. So that day at the hospital, when we first met, you recognized me, didn't you? I asked. No, you've got it backward, Luke said while driving. Every word stabbed straight into my chest. I met you at the hospital first. Then Jason sent me a friend request. That's when I saw you in his moments. If I hadn't seen you there, I wouldn't have had the patience to read his crap or keep him on my contacts. The thoughts exploded in my brain like fireworks. But one line stuck out clear as day. Jason had already been dating me, yet still couldn't let go of his first love. So much so that he'd reached out to the man she liked and sent him those pathetic messages. My eyes stung. I stayed silent for a long time. Luke silently handed me a tissue. Don't be sad. Plenty of men out there. Just get a new one. I sniffled. Those messages he sent, could I take a look? Luke froze for a few seconds, then replied firmly, No, you may not. Okay, fine. But what's with that look on his face, like he'd just been pantsed in public? In the days that followed, I stayed at Kristen's place at night and rode to work with Luke in the morning. The noisy routine helped me breeze through the post-breakup blues. Luke, like some newly domesticated caveman, started learning how to care for people and even started cooking, which left Aunt Emily in a panic, worried she'd soon be out of a job. Another casualty was poor Dr. Tony, who sat across from Luke. Ever since Luke stopped working overtime, Tony had to carry the load himself. His receding hairline was becoming more obvious by the day. Kristen whistled. Our family's weirdest guy is finally acting normal. But I still thought he was a little off. For instance, at night, before bed, he'd talk to me like I was one of his patients. Have you been sleeping? Getting used to the bed? I nodded. Yeah, I'm fine. That very night, he posted, She's finally used to my bed. Cute emoji, with a photo of my clothes hanging on his headboard. The comments must have been too vulgar by the time I saw it. They had all been replaced with, comment deleted, in a perfect row. I gaped. Dr. Luke, was this post also to show how warm and welcoming you are? Luke calmly peeled a pomelo for me. No. That one was to flaunt my love life. The first person who couldn't handle it was Jessica. Maybe she'd been so tormented she didn't sleep all night. At dawn, she showed up outside Luke's house, sneaking around, trying to catch a glimpse of the girl he posted that made her so crazy with jealousy. But luck wasn't on her side. Kristen, who usually woke up late, happened to get up early that day. Their eyes met. Kristen grinned menacingly. You ignored the road to heaven, but barged through the gates of hell. She'd been dying to throw hands, but society kept her in check. Still, today, she slowly rolled up her sleeves and bellowed from her gut. Thief! Then charged like a bull smack. Bam! Pow! Chaos! Aunt Emily, half asleep, came out with a broom and joined in. Jessica's screams got sharper by the second. Aunt Emily paused mid-swing. Aren't we being a bit too rough? Kristen, if we don't hit hard, how will the thief remember the pain? And Aunt Emily, you're terrible at cooking, and even worse at fighting. That lit a fire under Emily. Terrified of losing her job, she went full throttle, gritted teeth, wild swings. It took security to finally pull her off. Jessica was bruised, swollen like a pig's head, sobbing till she could barely breathe. At work, I happened to be the one to treat Jessica's fresh wounds. She'd just calmed down until she saw the bracelet on my wrist, the very one in Luke's post. Her emotions exploded again. "It's you! It was you all along! You got close to him just to get back at me?" I held her down. "Stop moving. The equipment's expensive, you can't afford to break it." My hand accidentally pressed her wound, and she howled in pain. Once she calmed down, she got cunning. Spotting I was soft-hearted, she sneered. "I bet Jason's answer that night broke you. You need to understand, you and I are not the same. I was the girl he loved for 5 years and couldn't have. You threw yourself at him. In his heart, we're worlds apart. Young love leaves the deepest mark. Even if you marry him, I'll still be etched in his heart forever." She was sharp, every word meant to wound. But now, none of it mattered to me. Seeing me continue the exam without flinching, Jessica lowered her voice and twisted the knife. "Oh, and you know what? After you left that night, he took me home. Spent the night at my place. While you were tossing and turning all night, he was fast asleep right next to me. This was the man I'd loved for 3 years. That said, while I may have hurt you a little, maybe you should be thanking me for helping you see who he really is, right?" I frowned, my face growing solemn. Jessica smiled smugly. "Weren't you all cool and unbothered just a moment ago? What now? Can't keep up the act?" I shook my head, paused, then printed a slip and handed it to her. "Your ultrasound shows a mass in the right breast. We can't rule out the possibility of breast cancer. I recommend a biopsy for confirmation." Jessica's smirk froze. What? Are you trying to scare me?" "Don't flatter yourself. I'm not that bored." I stood up, tidied the instruments, disinfected, and tossed the waste. Calm as ever, I even handed her the fruit basket on the desk. "This was sent by the person who accidentally hurt you. Don't forget to take it. That said, while she might have caused you a little pain, you should be thanking her too for helping you discover this illness, right?" Jessica stared blankly. Her hands slackened, and the fruit spilled all over the floor. The day Jason came to the hospital looking for me was one of those rare, sunny days. It was quiet during lunch break. Luke saw I was alone and said he felt chest tightness and heart palpitations, begged me to check him. Before I could even agree, he shut the door, took off his lab coat, lay on the bed, and started unbuttoning his shirt one button at a time. He usually looked slim in clothes, but as the buttons came undone, I saw the well-toned chest hidden beneath that monastic shirt. Seeing me not moving, he urged, "What's wrong, doctor?" "Jennifer, let's begin," I said sincerely. "It's just a chest exam. No need to unbutton all the way to your stomach." "Oh," Luke replied, and slowly rebuttoned the lower ones, hiding his perfectly cut abs. I disinfected the device, applied gel, and touched his chest. His body shivered slightly, breath no longer steady. "Relax, Dr. Luke. Don't be nervous." I smiled at him as I moved the probe gently across his chest. It was unusually quiet. His lashes trembled and his face flushed pink. Weak and flirty. Just then, Dr. Tony burst in. "Is Dr. Jennifer here?" And there he saw the famously cold and ascetic academic prodigy, shirt open, lying beside me. Tony shut his eyes in agony. Luke sat up and buttoned his shirt, his face snapping back to its usual iciness. I fought back a laugh and asked, "Something you need, Dr. Tony?" Tony spoke with his eyes still shut. "There's a green-plated Bentley downstairs, packed with flowers. I think it's here for Dr. Jennifer." I froze, then pushed the window open. Sure enough, it was Jason. These past few days, he'd been desperate, even made appointments under fake names just to see me. I listened to his sobbing, tearful apology and calmly suggested he visit the psych department next door. Clearly, he wasn't giving up. Now, there he stood downstairs, behind a sea of colorful blooms. When Jason spotted me through the window, he began his dramatic plea. I was drunk that night. By the time I realized what I'd done, it was too late. I regret it every second. After calming down, I realized it was all just obsession, a fantasy I couldn't let go of. But when I finally got her, I understood the one I truly love has always been you. Jennifer, can you forgive me? Can I pursue you again like before? He looked at me with burning eyes. I used to wonder what Jason must have looked like back in the day, holding flowers downstairs to woo Jessica, probably bright-eyed, confident, full of shy joy. Not this mess of a man, full of guilt and regret. You can't have it both ways. I turned to Tony and said, "He's not here for me." That's clearly a disruption. Call security before he pulls out a banner and ends up on the internet. The city was in the middle of a civilized city campaign. Tony panicked and sprinted off to get the guards. Before Jason could even unfold his banner, a team of security guards, wielding batons, had him pinned to the ground. Jason craned his neck desperately, trying to catch my eye only to see Luke standing next to me. Jason's eyes reddened as he burst into a furious rant. You sneaky bastard. All this time in hiding just to steal my girl. Luke, get down here. If you're a man, come down right now, he cried and screamed, now indistinguishable from a professional heckler. Tony hissed, "Shut him up! Don't let him cause a scene!" Seconds later, Jason's mouth was sealed with medical tape, and he was hauled off by security. I let out a breath and closed the window. Turning around, I saw Luke had unbuttoned again. He sat there, looking unsatisfied, blushing. "You didn't finish the scan." He grabbed my hand and placed it on his chest. "Dr. Jennifer, feel it does my heart still race?" Extra. Luke and Jason's chat log, the 23rd of September 2021. You've added the other party as a friend. Jason. Sorry to bother you. I'm Jason, a good friend of Jessica's. Just wanted to ask, how's she doing in Germany? Luke. Jessica who? Jason. The one who chased you all the way to Germany. Luke? Too many to count. Don't know which one. If this isn't serious, I'm deleting. Bye. Jason. Wait, is that your profile pic? Jason. Oh, that's me and my girlfriend. 20 minutes later, after Luke thoroughly stalked his moments. Luke, you've got a girlfriend, and you're still checking on another girl? Jason. It's not like that. It's just today's my birthday. My girlfriend went all out and gave me the best day of my life. I was just feeling emotional. Thinking about how miserable I was chasing Jessica back then, it wasn't even living. So, you came to brag about your happiness? Jason. Haha. Nah. Just got a little sentimental after drinking. I used to hate and resent her, but now I've let it all go. Hope she's happy too. Turns out, being loved makes you want to love the whole world. Luke. Angry emoji. Jason. Okay, now that I've said it, I feel better. Let's delete each other. Thanks for listening. Luke. Wait. Now I'm uncomfortable. Jason. What? Luke. I mean, something's off. If you still care how she's doing, doesn't that mean you haven't really moved on? No, I think I have. Luke. No, you haven't. Luke. Seriously, trust me. You're too close to see it, but as an outsider, I can. Deep down, you're still in love with Jessica. By the way, which Jessica are we talking about again? Jason. Sends photo. This one. Luke. She's beautiful. Really island. Such an amazing girl. Are you sure you want to give up on her? Jason. If she's so great, why didn't you ever accept her? Luke. Me? Well, I've got some physical limitations. You know, I didn't want to ruin her life. That's why I've never said yes to anyone. Jason. Damn, that's rough. Luke. Exactly. So I'm counting on you, someone healthy and capable, to go after your happiness. You and Jessica getting back together, that's my biggest wish now. But I really love my girlfriend. Luke. No. You're just temporarily moved by her gestures. You're blinded by immediate comfort. And let's be honest, your girlfriend's pretty average. Anyone with eyes knows who's the better choice. Jason, you call her average? When she approached me the first time, my heart actually started beating again. Luke, see? She approached you. That's not the same as a girl you chased. And what exactly made her approach you? Huh? Jason. I don't know. I was in a bad place then. Didn't treat anyone nicely. But somehow, my coldness pulled her in. Luke, cold, unfriendly to the world. Got it. Jason, wait, now I'm just confused after talking to you. Luke, that's good. Confusion means you've got unresolved feelings. Stay strong, man. Don't forget your first love. Don't give up on Jessica so easily. Jason. Huh? Remember, if you two get back together, it'll fulfill the biggest wish of a man like me. Full of heart but powerless to love. Jason. All right.